Hello students, and welcome to yet another in a series of video lectures, short video lectures. Today's topic is going to be the importance of documentation in social work practice. Um, it's an important part of your career, and it will help to give you some more insights into why we stress the emphasis on being able to write, because it's a critical part of your job as a social worker. So with no further ado, let's get into tonight's lesson. There are a couple of things that you will want to recognize and know about the importance of documentation in social work. And from the years that I have been involved in the profession, these two rules really do ring true. And it's very important for you to really understand what they actually mean. Number one, as a professional social worker, take this with a grain of salt, and that is the rule one is if you did not write it, it did not happen. If you don't have documentation of your interactions, of the work that you have done, the things that you have completed, then it's just as though it didn't actually even occur. So you have no way of actually proving what it is you have done or have not done. So it's always important when you're working with clients, when you're working with agencies, to understand their policies, to make sure that you document thoroughly according to the agency policy and principles. The second rule is that you want to think about in terms of, as you are documenting, you want to record your information in a way that you would think about it being reviewed in a court process, because there may be instances over the course of your career where that might actually happen. There are some aspects of social work as a profession where the expectation is that reports are submitted to the courts on a regular basis. So again, as you are putting together the notes and the contact information that you've had with your clients, make sure that you do it in a way that would uphold this particular standard. Why do we do documentation in social work practice? These are the reasons why documentation is done, and it really talks to us about what documentation actually does. So it identifies the client and the need, so making sure that that's clearly spelled out in the course of your work. It documents the services that you provide. What did you do? What day? When did you make referrals? What were the outcome of those particular referrals? It maintains case continuity. You may be one of several social workers that work with a particular family over the life of a course of a case, and having that continuity is going to be important. Often interprofessional communication, so you'll be attending multidisciplinary team meetings, and you may have to share documentation from your files with those persons as well, so making sure that it's written professionally. You'll be also using this information at points in time to share information with your client, to facilitate supervision and consultation and peer review. So as you're connecting with your supervisors, as you're talking about clients and families that you're working with, you'll need to have some documentation there as well. Monitors progress, so you'll be able to document when services are working and when they're not working. It's a part of the evidence-based practice as well. It also educates students and other professionals, supplies information for administrative tools. Oftentimes, larger systems require that annual reports are completed, submitted to funders, and they're looking at information from your notes that's going to actually supply the data they need for their particular reports to continue funding. And it also provides some data for those research-informed practice that I indicated earlier. So that's why documentation is so important and why it needs to really be done, and done in a timely manner. These are some of the things that you will find in a record. So when we're thinking about connecting with clients, making sure that dates and times are important, what the interaction was about, who was there, aspects of social history sometimes depending on the nature of your connection with the client at that point in time. All of these things are important things that you will need to make sure that are part of the record, your written record that you keep for your clients. SOAP or progress or NAP notes are notes that are of a particular style. It's a particular style of documentation that you're utilizing when you are actually entering into an electronic system, or if you're written even into a paper system. So each agency has their own particular needs and documentation pieces, and you'll be trained according to what a particular agency needs. But some of the more common ones we decided to just spend a little time with today, and that would be SOAP and would be the NAP notes. And so as you can see, each of the letters is an abbreviation or symbolizes what particular aspect of the note you're going to actually be covering. And so the subjective, the background, the story from the client's point of view, your observations or the objective pieces around what you saw when you actually connected with a client, what you experienced, what were your observations, your assessment based on what the information, the subjective and the objective information, what your assessment of what's actually going on. So these are some aspects you'll want to look at as you're working with that family. And then finally, your plan. So based on all this particular information, what are your next steps? What do clients need to do? What do you need to do? What needs to happen as it relates to the next appointment? Finally, as we think about documentation, there are other documents that you will actually be required to actually produce and maintain in your role as a social worker as well. So you'll spend quite a bit of time sending referral letters out to agencies, making those particular calls. Progress reports, so making sure that your supervisor as well as funders are kept abreast of the progress that your interventions with your clients are having. It can be used for billing as well. Case management or treatment plan, so the actual intervention plan of what you're going to do, what the goals are, what the tasks are going to be for everyone that's involved. You will also be looked at to actually complete quantitative and qualitative observations and reports. Grant proposals could be a possibility, case analysis, case summaries, case transfers, and any other documents that are required by your agency. So I hope that this gives you a little bit more insight into why we place such a high emphasis on documentation, because as you can see, it's critical. It's throughout the life of the cases that you will find yourself working with while you're in the social work field. So please make sure that your documentation is done timely. Please make sure that you utilize the Writing Center if you need to make sure that your writing skills are top-notch before you actually are able to go into the field. And I will see you all in class. We will follow up with an in-class exercise around documentation as well. Thank you for your time and attention.